and to strengthen our intelligence. And that is by study of scriptures. So in the last session, we concluded the 4th chapter. Kṛṣṇa concluded the 4th chapter by rebuking Arjuna. Atishta uttishta Arjuna. Stand up and fight. That was the concluding words of Kṛṣṇa. And from today, we will commence the 5th chapter. Very, very important chapter. It is continuing on the theme of karma yoga. Every chapter in Bhagavad-gītā is yoga. Because this material world means viyog. Viyog means disconnection. So Bhagavad-gītā teaches us again and again how to connect with Kṛṣṇa. So this chapter is called Karma Sannyāsa Yoga. Very, very distinct. Combining both karma and sannyāsa to be situated in yoga. That is why this chapter Prabhupada has entitled Karma Yoga, Action in Kṛṣṇa Consciousness. So we will begin with Mangalacharan and we will start the chapter. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shundavadi Paschata Deshatharine. In one of the Gita Mahatmya, Lord Kṛṣṇa declares to Arjuna, he says, Gita Ashrayaham Tishtami. Gita Ashray Aham Tishtami. Where is Kṛṣṇa fully present? Within Gita. Gita Ashray Aham Tishtami. Tishtami means to be situated, to be present. I am present within the Gita. Why? Gita me paramam griham. Because Gita is the greatest abode. It gives the highest abode, the benediction. Gita jnanam samashritya trilokam palayami aham. So Gita jnanam samashritya. Kṛṣṇa says that by the wisdom which is contained in Bhagavad-gītā, Gita jnanam samashritya trilokam palayami aham. I can maintain the three worlds. So if one has the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā, one thing I can assure you, he can be freed from the anxiety of maintenance. In this material world, everyone is struggling so hard. Why? For his maintenance. And can he maintain himself? Is it possible anyone to maintain? He will ultimately perish. His existence will be finished. But if you accept the principles and the teachings of Bhagavad-gītā, then one is maintained forever. Gita brings us to the eternal platform. So in the 4th chapter, Kṛṣṇa discussed many aspects. Kṛṣṇa discussed about his transcendental nature. Kṛṣṇa discussed about himself, why he comes to this material world. Please don't talk. If you have to play, then you can go outside and play. Otherwise, here. Come sit here. Come and sit here. Why? Because then you cannot create mischief. And very importantly, Kṛṣṇa, in the middle part of the fourth chapter, he discussed about how to perform karma to come to the platform of jnana. So that is why this chapter was entitled, the previous chapter was entitled, what was the name? Transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge. And then Kṛṣṇa spoke about the glories of transcendental knowledge. And one who is situated in this boat of transcendental knowledge, however big sinner he may be, whatever abominable actions he would have performed, but he will come to the stage of becoming completely purified. That is the potency of this jnana. And where to receive this knowledge? In the book? No. He has to take shelter of a self-realized spiritual master. Tadvidhi paripatena. So after speaking, glorifying the transcendental knowledge, so we come to the 5th chapter. The 5th chapter begins with Arjuna's question. See. So please be very conscious of Arjuna's role. Arjuna is playing double role. One role Arjuna is playing as a representative of all the persons who will be in Kali Yuga, all of us, as a conditioned soul. What is the characteristic of a conditioned soul? One, he is forgetful. If I ask you 1 month back, today is what? 4th of November, 4th of October at 7:58 p.m. where you were? Can you answer? What you were doing? You cannot recollect. If I ask you 1 year back, very difficult. If I ask you 10 years back, impossible. It has happened with us, but we tend to forget. So that is one. And second aspect of the conditioned soul is that he is not willing to change. A man against his will is of the same opinion still. Have you heard this saying? A man against his will is of the same opinion still. You understand this? You will understand by Arjuna's question. Arjuna's question will make it clear. Okay. So 5th chapter begins by Arjuna's question. If you see we will connect with the last section. Kṛṣṇa is telling Arjuna to cut all the doubts which is there in his heart by the weapon of knowledge. So in a way, Arjuna abides by Kṛṣṇa's instruction, and Arjuna begins with his doubt. And what kind of doubt it is, we will see. It is not a small doubt. It's an ocean of oceanic doubt. After hearing 4 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā, so Arjuna is still having such doubts, such apprehension in his heart. So this gives us hope that even if we are not changing and if we are still doubting, then Arjuna is still our representative. Arjuna is representing us. Then what is the remedy? Is to continue hearing Bhagavad-gītā. So this is the first verse. Arjuna uvāca sannyāsaṁ karmaṇāṁ Kṛṣṇa punar yogaṁ śaṁsasi yashreyo etayor ekaṁ tanme brūhi su-niścitam. So after hearing patiently in the fourth chapter, where did Arjuna question in the fourth chapter? In the beginning. What was Arjuna's question in the fourth chapter? Anyone remembers? Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. That how do I understand that you gave this science of yogaṁ to the sun god. So since then, Arjuna was hearing. And now Arjuna has got the opportunity to speak his heart. One glorious aspect of Arjuna, why Arjuna was chosen to be given this wisdom of Bhagavad-gītā, because Arjuna is thoroughly honest. He does not make a show. Kali Yuga Jiva has the second characteristic. What is the second characteristic? One, they are forgetful. Second, they are quarrelsome. They will always argue and quarrel. And third, they are dishonest. They don't accept the fact as it is. But that is not the case with Arjuna. Arjuna, whatever is in his heart, he speaks his heart. So here he is saying, sannyāsaṁ karmaṇāṁ Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, you are recommending. What you are recommending? Sannyāsaṁ. You are asking to renounce. Where did Kṛṣṇa ask to renounce? Which verse of the fourth chapter? Are you with me? Or you are spaced out? You are outside somewhere else? So many times I have requested that if you want to take advantage before coming in the class, please review what we have done, so that you remain connected. Otherwise, the class will be over and the disconnection will continue. Where did Kṛṣṇa speak about sannyāsa in the fourth chapter? Which verse? You remember? Yeah, you have to know the verse number. In the 41st verse. If you see the 41st verse, Kṛṣṇa says, yoga sannyasta karmaṇāṁ. Same thing. Sannyāsa karmaṇāṁ. So Kṛṣṇa is recommending yoga sannyasta karmaṇāṁ and jnana sanshinna samshayam. That renouncing the fruits of action. But again and again, Arjuna is interpreting sannyasa as renouncing action. What is very important, because most of the people still in India, they have the same conception of what spiritual life is. What is the understanding of spiritual life? That then one is free. One is free from all responsibilities. He becomes irresponsible. He has nothing to do. That is why the modern generation, the young men, they are very much opposed to spirituality. Both. Neither the orthodox man nor the modern man have any understanding of what spirituality is. Spirituality does not mean die renunciation. So again, Arjuna is asking that on one hand, you are recommending sannyasa karmaṇāṁ. Karmana means action. And sannyasa means? Sannyasa means renunciation of action. So how both is possible? Either you recommend action or you recommend renunciation. Punar yogaṁ śaṁsasi. Because Kṛṣṇa said in the 41st verse, yoga sannyasta karmaṇāṁ jnana sanshinna samshaya. So if you give up the action, what Kṛṣṇa is saying, give up the action imbued with attachment. But Arjuna is not hearing the word attachment. Why? Because he is attached. A man against his will is of the same opinion still. He will not give up his attachment easily. So again and again he is bringing, what he is doing? He is finding fault what Kṛṣṇa is speaking. This is another dimension of modern man. Instead of correcting himself, he will start to find the flaw in the principle, in the process. So here Arjuna is speaking, he is saying, sannyāsa karmaṇāṁ Kṛṣṇa, that on one hand you are asking me to become renounced, become detached. But at the same time, you are saying, punar yogaṁ śaṁsasi. In the 42nd verse, the next verse, Kṛṣṇa, what did Kṛṣṇa said to Arjuna? That yogaṁ ātiṣṭho uttiṣṭha bharata. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. What does fight mean? Action. Action with aggression. So one time you are saying that be situated in knowledge, and before that you are saying that jnanam labdhva param shantim achirenadi gacchati. In the 39th verse, Kṛṣṇa says that one who has received this knowledge, he is attained the everlasting peace. So if you are asking me to attain peace, if you are asking me to attain knowledge, if you are asking me to attain the stage of tranquility and renunciation, why you are pushing me again to fight? So how it is possible to perform both? Like we tell our student that you should be very good in your devotional practice. You should be very serious and sincere. And at the same time, we tell them, in your study, you should be outstanding. So most of the people will come to me and say, Prabhuji, if you don't want to become a materialist, then why you are pushing me to study? You should ask me not to study. Same thing Arjuna is saying. Why you are asking me to fight? If you are telling me the perfection is to come to the stage of knowledge, and from the knowledge to come to tranquility and peace, and be free from reactions of all action. But at the same time, you are pushing me to fight. So you are giving me two equivocal instructions. You understand what is equivocal? Opposing. So what I want, then Arjuna is expressing his position. He is saying, Yat shreya etayor ekaṁ. Shreya, you understand? Shreya means what is most beneficial. And ekaṁ means one. Both cannot be beneficial for me. You tell me one thing. Don't give me 2 or 3 things or 10 things. I want to know only one thing, and you please recommend only one thing. Tanme brūhi su-niścitam. So that I can definitely make up my mind to do that. As if Kṛṣṇa is confusing Arjuna. Arjuna is, in a subtle way, he is alleging Kṛṣṇa that Kṛṣṇa is confusing Arjuna by giving him instructions which are not compatible, which are contradictory. As we say that you have to do both. My spiritual master told me that you have to do management also, you have to do teaching also. So normally the devotee will say, Maharaj, tell me one thing. Why you are giving me both? Both is not possible. You study and practice. How is it possible? Both are possible. How it is possible? So this gives chance for Kṛṣṇa to explain the subject matter more deeper. Why? Because most of the mass of men, or even the class of men, will fail to understand what is the spirit behind renunciation. It is not renunciation of action, but it is the spirit of renunciation while performing action. So Kṛṣṇa will give in detail. If you see in Bhagavad-gītā, some of the chapters seems to be corresponding. This 5th chapter is very much corresponding to the 3rd chapter. If you see the 3rd chapter, Arjuna begins the 3rd chapter with similar question. And Kṛṣṇa in detail explained that what is better, what is higher. Performing action is higher when the action is for the satisfaction of the Supreme. One cannot refrain from performing action, not even for a moment. That is what Kṛṣṇa recommended in the 3rd chapter. Anyone remembers the verse? Very famous verse. Nahi kaśyit shanamapi jatu tishtanti akarmaprit. But again and again, because this is Arjuna's desire. So the conditioned soul, many times, or most of the times, why do they approach God? They approach God so that God can fulfill their desire. They have no desire to know what is God's desire. What to speak of fulfilling God's desire. They take God to become their order supplier. So Prabhupada used to say that God is not your order supplier. We have to know what the Supreme Lord wants from us. So here Arjuna is trying to checkmate Kṛṣṇa by saying that what you are doing, you are confusing me by giving me 2 principles or 2 instructions at the same time, which are contradictory, which are not compatible. Okay, understood the mindset of Arjuna? This is the mindset of a Kali Yuga Jiva. He is neither willing to agree, nor is he willing to abide. What is his heart? He is always willing to oppose and argue. So Arjuna is representing the modern man. Arjuna said, "Oh Kṛṣṇa," see the translation, "first of all, you asked me to renounce work." Many times Kṛṣṇa has spoken about it. More clearly in the 41st verse, yoga sannyasta karmaṇāṁ. So you asked me to renounce work. And then again you recommend work with devotion. So how Kṛṣṇa has recommended work with devotion in the 41st verse? 42nd verse? What is that word? What is the yogaṁ atishto uttishta bharata. Yogaṁ atishto uttishta bharata. Armed with yoga. So what is yoga? The 4th chapter began with yoga and the 4th chapter concluded with yoga. If you see, the entire chapter is presenting the science of yoga. What is transcendental knowledge? The science of yoga. And what is that science of yoga? What is this yoga? Our invoking our internal and eternal relationship with Kṛṣṇa. How? By performing action which is pleasing to Kṛṣṇa. Not otherwise. So Arjuna is putting forth, now you recommend work with devotion. Now will you kindly tell me definitely which of the 2 is more beneficial? This is the credential of Arjuna. Wherever Arjuna has any doubt or Arjuna has any apprehension, he does not decide on his own. What is the outstanding quality of Arjuna? That he inquires and he clarifies with Kṛṣṇa. You see, in the 2nd chapter, Arjuna did the same. What did Arjuna say in the 2nd chapter? Yat shreyasyat niśṭitam brūhi tanme. The same thing. What is shreyas? Here also Arjuna is saying, yes, shreyas. What is most beneficial for me? You please direct me or dictate me. So this underlines the principle in the Arjuna's heart that he is willing. He is willing to abide by Kṛṣṇa's order. But the problem is his confused intelligence. He is applying his own intelligence. And because of his own intelligence, he is in a bewildered or confused stage. So let us see the purport. Have you understood the question? Have you understood what is the dilemma of Arjuna? Arjuna is again and again. Why? Because Arjuna in his heart had decided not to fight. So every time he gets an opportunity, he brings the argument back. So that what he can do? He can avoid the battle and he can retire. So again and again, he's putting that point in the center. And this we experience every time. In our spiritual practice, we experience most of the people, they follow the same thing what they have been doing for lifetimes. They don't want to change. They don't want to accept. And they bring so many arguments and counter-arguments and so many reasons and so many obstacles not to be able to change. So Arjuna is not willing to change, even after hearing Bhagavad-gītā. So Prabhupada says in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. So this is the important point. Most of the people, you see, those who are in India, those who pose themselves as renounced or spiritualist. So what kind of knowledge they are pursuing? It comes into the category of dry mental speculation. But we are not trying to receive knowledge out of mental speculation. Where are we receiving knowledge from? From the Supreme Lord directly. And why are we receiving knowledge? Not to renounce the action, but to perform action in devotion. Yoga sannyāsa karmaṇāṁ. To be situated in yoga. And how we will be situated in yoga? Through the proper action. Which action? The action which is recommended by Kṛṣṇa. So here, Prabhupada is saying that Lord says that devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier. It is easier, it is practical, it is safe. Devotional service is easier than the later, being transcendental in nature. It frees one from reaction. We have seen that in the previous chapter. Kṛṣṇa recommended that one who is performing devotional service is free from all reactions. Which is the verse? What is the verse? That it frees from all reactions. You have to give evidence. You have to give pramana. Otherwise, again, it will be what? It will be dry. It has to have substance. Kṛṣṇa said, you cut the ignorance by the weapon of knowledge. That sword should be there. What is the verse? That it frees one from all reactions. Those who are online can also answer. Which verse Kṛṣṇa said in the 4th chapter? That one who performs devotional service, it frees one from all reaction. And you find out, you should be clear. Otherwise, again, it will be a mental speculation. It will not help. It has to be incorporated in our own practice, in our application. In the 2nd chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and the entanglement of the material body were explained. That is the 2nd chapter, which is the Atma Gyan. Kṛṣṇa gave the Atma Gyan. And how to come to the realization of Atma, Kṛṣṇa spoke about buddhi-yoga. Performing action which is for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Buddhi-yoga. How to get out of this material entanglement by buddhi-yoga, mentioned here. Yeah. Or devotional service. Was also explained herein. Which verse of buddhi-yoga? Kṛṣṇa spoke buddhi-yoga from verse number 39 till practically the end of the chapter. Or at least till verse number 53. In the 3rd chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. Very good. If we are situated on the platform of knowledge, then we have nothing to do. We are free, free bird, no responsibility. What is that verse? That one who is situated on the platform of knowledge has no duties to perform. What is that platform? See, neither 2nd chapter is known, neither 3rd chapter is known, and we want to do the 5th chapter. Why it is not known? Which verse is that? Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Anyone else who remembers the verse? We should be applying in so many sessions. In 1 week, we take 2 verses. In 1 week, we take only 2 verses. And in a week, you have 7 days. If you devote only 10 minutes a day, you will know the verse. You will know the Bhagavad-gītā. But we are very, very important person, VVIP. And our time is very privileged. We have हजार more things, millions of more important things to do than to know ourselves. We want to know this material world and all the material things which has nothing to do with us. Yastu atma ratirev syat atma triptasta manava atmani eva santushta tasya karyam na vidyate. Who? One who has realized the self. Yastu atma ratirev syat. One who takes pleasure within himself. That means he has nothing to seek from this world. He has no interest whatsoever in this material existence. Why? Because his platform is Atma-ratir. And he is Atma Santushta Manava. And he is fully satisfied himself. For such a person, there is nothing recommended to be performed. And in the 4th chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kind of sacrifice culminate in knowledge. Which verse is this? Where is your book? You should have a book with you. This mobile digital thing is not empowered. You have the facility of the book, avail it. Prabhupada has been empowered. He has empowered love of Godhead in his books. If you try to read from laptop or from palm top, from this top or that top, only top will be there. It will be tipsy-topsy, tipsy-turvy. Try to catch the empowerment which is there in the book form. Which verse is that? From the 4th chapter. Manoram Prabhu. He did not answer for 2nd chapter, did not answer for 3rd chapter, at least answer for 4th chapter, which is very recent. All kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. Your face says that you have no clue. You completely detached, renounced from what Kṛṣṇa spoke in the 4th chapter. Who remembers? Ravindra Prabhu, what is the verse?
Prabhuji, I think 4.33, Jnana Yajna. I don't remember the verse.
Yes, series of verses. Series of verses in the sacrifices. Okay. Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight at the end of the 4th chapter, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Kṛṣṇa has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Prabhupada is siding with whom? Arjuna. Prabhupada is giving the argument in favor of Arjuna, as if Kṛṣṇa has confused Arjuna. Arjuna understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that sannyāsa or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activity. In the 3rd chapter, Prabhupada spoke about it. What is renunciation accepted as? What is the word Prabhupada used? Anyone remembers? Inertia. Inertia. But spiritual life is not inertia. Spiritual life means one is hyperactive. He is engaged Kṛṣṇa's service 24/7. And after that, they want to retire. And after retirement, they think, what? But it is not in the case of devotional service. Prabhupada said, but if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? If one is performing devotional service, what is the characteristic of devotional service? Yes, it is ahetuki and apratihati. It is without ulterior motive and it is without cessation. It cannot be stopped. It is continuous. Because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible, he appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive. Very important. Work in full knowledge is non-reactive. And therefore the same as inaction. What was the verse? Very beautiful verse. We discussed that in the 4th chapter. Let me see how much of remembrance you have. Ramya, you remember the verse? Kṛṣṇa spoke in the 4th chapter.
No, Prabhuji.
You should remember. Priyanka? So sad. Very disappointing. That principle is very important. Because in absence of that principle, we will not perform yoga. And we will continue to perform karma and be bound by our karmic reactions.
Prabhuji, 428.
428. What is the verse? It is not 428. No. What the question is that one who is in full knowledge, one who has understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive and therefore the same as inaction. Action, inaction. And inaction, inaction. Now I have given the clue. That is the verse. I spoke about that verse in such detail. 4 point? No, not 4.3. No. Akarmani karma ye pashed. And also kim karma kim akarmeti kaviyo api atra mohita. Then Kṛṣṇa said. Yeah. Karmani akarma ye pashed. Yes, 18th verse. Karmani akarma ye pashed. Akarmani cha karmaya sa buddhiman manushyesu sa yukta krist karma krit. One who sees inaction in action. One who sees inaction in action. What is inaction in action? Devashish? What is inaction in action? It requires some level of commitment and intelligence to understand this. What is inaction in action?
Prabhuji,
Wait. Please try to understand the conception first. It is inaction in action.
Prabhuji,
Yeah, who is speaking? Please raise your hand. Boliye. Please raise your hand and speak. One who says inaction in action. That means what? Although he will perform all action, but he sees his vision is very advanced. His vision is not like the normal vision. What he sees? He sees inaction in action. What Arjuna is saying? Arjuna is saying action in inaction. So it is reverse. Although acting, although performing all activity, he is freed from reaction. How? Because he is performing sacrifice. So he will not be inflicted by the reaction of the action. And one who sees action in inaction. Arjuna is not saying action in inaction. You understand what is action in inaction? Who can explain?
It is not, though if one is different, really, it will not be subjected to the reaction of it.
More clearly, have you understood what he said? Not very clear. Explain clearly. Give the mic so that others can also hear.
Different from my duty, still I will be entitled to reaction.
Yes. If you do not perform what you are supposed to perform, like you try to escape and you do not perform the activity, thinking that activity is very troublesome and activity will bring reaction. Itna jhamela hai, so many things I have to balance. And in balancing that, I am becoming imbalanced. So what I should do? I should leave it. But leaving would mean I'll be inflicted by sinful reaction. So that is seeing action in inaction. So many times I give the example. Suppose you come to IARI. You take a seat in PhD. You have been given scholarship. And instead of doing PhD research, you start working for IAS preparation. Many students do that. Many students do that. What will be the result? What are they doing? Inaction. Where inaction? In their PhD work. Are they performing the prescribed action? No. What are they doing? They are preparing for IAS. So what will come to them? Action. What action? Sinful reaction. Why? Because they're not performing their duty. So this is very subtle. The law of karma is very, very subtle. So Kṛṣṇa explained all of it. So here it is being said. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive, and therefore the same as inaction. He inquires, therefore, whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. So this is the honesty and the open-heartedness of Arjuna, that he is voluntarily, he is accepting that he has not understood the knowledge so far explained by Kṛṣṇa. Yes or no? So he's very honest. So many times we ask that, have you understood? And what we say? Yes. We are not following Arjuna. Arjuna is thoroughly honest. He has not understood. So he is putting forth the apprehension or the doubt which he has in his heart. In the last chapter, what was discussed? Doubts are compared to demons. Demons. And where are the doubts? The doubts are in our hearts. We will celebrate Diwali after Dashera. But how can we celebrate Diwali if the demon in the heart, which is Ravana, is still alive? And we want to celebrate Deepavali. Whom are we fooling? Whom are we fooling? Our own self. So that demon which is there in the heart as doubt, Arjuna is killing the demon by asking, by placing this question in front of Kṛṣṇa. So you understood? Very, very deep. Arjuna is playing the role of a conditioned soul. It's not easy to understand the philosophy of Bhagavad-gītā. Why? Because we are tainted with the lower modes. Our intelligence is dull. And most importantly, we are not willing to change. So man against his will is of the same opinion still. Okay. So let us see how Kṛṣṇa addresses Arjuna's doubt. Verse number 2. Shri Bhagavan uvāca samsaya sannyāsa karma yogasya nishreyasya karo bho tayostu karma sannyāsa karma yoga vishishyate. Krishna says sannyāsa karma yogasya. They're both the concepts. What is the concept of sannyāsa? What is sannyāsa? Sannyāsa means renunciation in action. Please understand again. It is not renunciation alone. It is renunciation in action. So what is to be renounced? Not the action, but the spirit of performing the action in the spirit of renunciation. That means being detached or renounced from the results of the action. And Krishna says karma yogasya. And what is karma yoga? Is performing action. And he says both of them, nishreya asya karovo. Both are beneficial. What is Arjuna asking? Tell me one thing which is beneficial. But Krishna is saying, my dear, both are beneficial. Both are beneficial. Renunciation is also beneficial and action in devotion is also beneficial. Nishreyasya karo ubho. Ubho means both. And nishreyasya is leading to the path of liberation, which is beneficial for all. Both releases from bondage. Tayostu karma sannyāsa. Then he says, in comparison to karma sannyas, which is renunciation of action, karma yoga vishishyate. Which is better for you? Action in devotion. Or devotional service is better for you. So here Krishna is recommended. You see the overview of this chapter. So the first verse speaks about Arjuna's apprehension and doubt. And from 2nd to 6th verse, Krishna will speak about the superiority of karma yoga as compared to jnana yoga for Arjuna and for everyone in Kali Yuga. That is why in our society, in Krishna consciousness, whoever comes, he is compulsory, he is mandatory to perform service. He cannot say that I will just chant Hare Krishna and I will study Bhagavad-gītā. No, it is not allowed. Why it is not allowed? That Krishna will explain. Why? Because we are not at that platform. In the 3rd chapter, Krishna has already given the principle. Anyone remembers the principle? Krishna said that one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense object, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Why? Because the mind is still thinking about the sense enjoyment. And what he has done? Externally, he has ceased to perform sense enjoyment. But within, from inside, what is he contemplating? Sense enjoyment. So such a person is mithyachari. He's a pretender. He's a hypocrite. And that is why you see in society, most of these bogus babas, they are exposed. Why? Because they have not come to the platform of purification, where they have not developed the spirit of renunciation and detachment. How renunciation and detachment will come? When one's devotion is elevated. Unless and until one has devotion, he cannot practice renunciation. Detachment is the result of attachment to Krishna, not otherwise. It is impossible. However show one may make, he will be exposed one day. So Krishna is telling here that tayostu karma sannyasa karma yoga vishishyate. But because you are asking, although both are beneficial, but for you, at your stage, many times students come to me, Prabhu ji, aap bataiye, मैं chanting करूं या पढ़ूं? So what we tell? Baba, पढ़ो. Study. Because you will fail. In any case, you will not chant. Even if I tell them to study, still they will not talk and still they will not chant. Why? Because there is no desire to chant. So Kṛṣṇa is saying that for you at your level, what is beneficial? Karma yoga. Karma yoga is higher for you than karma sannyāsa. The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Clearly understood the concept? So, duty has to be performed. In any case, you cannot run away or shy away from your duty. So, Bhagavad-gītā teaches us to first come to duty consciousness. We can become Kṛṣṇa conscious only when we are duty conscious. The Prabhupada says in the purport, fruitive activity sense gratification are giving the standard of bodily comfort. Understood? Bodily comfort. Everyone is more inclined in two things. One is artha. Artha means economic gains. And why he wants economic gains? For kama. For satisfying his desires. And what is his desires? His desire is not to serve Kṛṣṇa. His desire is that let Kṛṣṇa serve me. All my desires should be fulfilled. Why people come to temple? Why people come to churches? Why people go to mosque? Majority of people, they come for their desires to be fulfilled by the Lord. They feel on their own, it is not possible for them to fulfill their desire. So if they have God on their side, God will fulfill their desires. So they come and pray. And they make a deal with God also. That if you grant me, first class marks, I will offer you 100 rupees sweet. Yeah. And they have many more desires. I don't want to name them. You all know. And with what desires we approach the Lord. So as long as one is engaged in activities aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies. So his path of liberation can never be achieved. Why? Because the desire will force the living entity to transmigrate from one body to another body. Why? In the quest of fulfilling the desire. Thereby continuing material bondage perpetually. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, 4 to 6 verses confirm this as follows. This is the teaching by Srila Rishabhdev. He is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And Rishabhdev has, I want some water. Feeling very dry. People are feeling very cold, but I am feeling very dry. Because of this pollution, the temperature has gone up. It has not gone down. And it is very suffocating now. I was thinking whether to come or not. Okay, thank you. So this is the verse where there is teaching by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of incarnation of Rishabhdev in the 5th canto. Very powerful teaching. And he had 100 sons. And see what a father's duty is. Father's duty is to train his sons to become first class. Who are situated in yoga. He was such a powerful king that this country is named Bharat. After him, it is known as Bharat. So his teaching is what he says, Nunam pramatta kurte vikarma yatindriya pritaya pnoti nasadu manne yato atmanoyam asannapi kleshada deha parabhavastavad jata yavarna jignasato atma tattvam yavat kriyastavad manovay karmatmakam yena sharir bandha evam mana karma vasam prayukte avindriyatmani upadhiyamane प्रीतेर्न यावान् मयि वासुदेवे नमुच्यते देह योगेन तावत्. This is nunam pramattaha. Mattaha, you understand? Matta means one who is intoxicated. Matwala. You know, it said for a elephant, it is said, the mad elephant. When you see a mad elephant, what people do? They keep distance. They run away from that place. Because mad elephant, what he can do? He can create destruction. So, nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. So, one who is mad after sense gratification, after sense enjoyment, whose senses are uncontrolled. So, what he will perform? Kurute vikarma. You understand what is karma? We discussed. What is karma? Vikarma and akarma. What is vikarma? Sinful activity. Activity which is not to be performed. So one who is mad after sense gratification. You see all criminals, what do? They perform all those activities which are forbidden by the law. And why do they perform such activities? Are they not aware that if they commit murder, or if they commit robbery, or if they encroach some other's property, they will be punished by law? Are they not aware? They are aware. But what is the problem? They are pramattaha. They are mad. Mad means a person who has lost his balance. That is called mad. So one who is very much after sense gratification, people are mad after sense gratification. In Kali Yuga, we will see such people who are mad after sense gratification. And they do not know that this present body, which is full of misery, yat indriya pritiya apanoti, is the result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Although this body is temporary, it is always giving trouble in many ways. Asanapi kleshada asa deha. Deha means this body. And what it is? It is asanapi. Asanapi means it is impermanent. It is temporary. Not only it is temporary, it is kleshada. Klesha means suffering, miseries. Although this body is temporary, it is always giving one trouble in many ways. Therefore, to act for sense gratification is not good. Na sadhu manne yato atmanoyam. One is considered to be a failure in his life as long as he made no inquiries about his real identity. Parabhava stavad abodh jata. Abodh jata means, abodh, you understand? One who is in ignorance. One who is in knowledge is bodha. Bodhayanta parasparam. Abodh means one who is in ignorance, one who has no knowledge. So unless and until one has parabhavas. Parabhavas is unless and until one makes the ultimate inquiry. Inquiry about yavar na jignasata atma tattva. Till the time he comes to inquire about the atma tattva. Who he is and why is he suffering? Yavat kriyas tavat idam manovay. So all his action, all his activities, all his working is karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. It is karmatmaka. Karmatmaka, you understand? Atma will be bound by karma. That means he has to transmigrate from one body to another body. He cannot have release. He cannot have liberation of freedom. He will be forced to remain in one body to the other. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about the real identity. As long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for fruitive results for sense gratification. Evam manah karma vasham prayuktate. How is he captured? He is vasham. Vasham means under the control. Of whom? According to his evam mana. He is controlled by his mind. And what is there in the mind? Desire for sense gratification. As long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another body. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Priti nayavan mai Vasudeva. He is the Supreme Lord himself. So he is saying, Priti na, unless and until one invokes love for the Supreme Lord. And what does it mean to invoke love to the Supreme Lord? Is to invoke love for his service. Simple. Love does not mean that I love you, but I can do nothing for you. That is not love. That is only show of love. One must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then can one have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. Na muchyate deha yoga na tavat. Muchyate means to terminate, to extinguish. What one can extinguish? Deha yoga. Yoga means connection, and deha means body. So na muchyate. One cannot terminate the connection with the body unless and until he has developed love for devotional service. One must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then one can have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. This is the knowledge which Rishabdev is the king of the entire planet, and his sons are the princes. And you see, the king and the prince, what is natural for them? Opulence and sense gratification. Bhog aishwarya prasaktana. But what lesson is he teaching his sons? Perform devotional service. Do not aspire for sense gratification. Next verse is very heavy. Further, he will say that sense gratification is available even to dogs and hogs. So coming in this human form of life, don't become a dog and a hog, which the modern society is very rapidly advancing. Therefore, Gyan or knowledge that one is not this material body but spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. Very powerful statement. Just theoretical knowledge that one is not this body, one is spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. One has to act in the status of spirit soul. Otherwise, there is no escape from material bondage. Action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness is not, however, action on the fruitive platform. So this is very important. So unless and until we come to the platform of performing nishkam karma yoga or performing devotional service, one cannot be freed from the reactions. Why one cannot be freed from the reaction? Because his mentality will remain fruitive. You understand fruitive? Is to enjoy the result of his action. So he will be bound by his action. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. So action, it should be backed by knowledge. Why we are performing the action? And who is the beneficiary of my action? You understand what is beneficiary now? That who will receive the result. If we are performing action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, who is the receiver of the result? Me? Kṛṣṇa. Has to be Kṛṣṇa. So what we should do? We should offer our results to Kṛṣṇa voluntarily. It is called arpanam. Karma Kṛṣṇa arpanam. One has to perform his actions for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Without Kṛṣṇa consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. Very important. Twice Prabhupada is saying, action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness and without Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Renunciation, even when there are many social workers. If you see social workers, do they enjoy the result of their work? No. They give the result to the society, to the nation, isn't it? To the community, to others. But are they free from, are they having the platform of inaction in action? No. Why? Because they are not Kṛṣṇa conscious. So Prabhupada is again and again recommending, without Kṛṣṇa consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activity does not actually purify the heart of the conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified. What does it mean by purification of the heart? What does it mean by purification of the heart? This is what Kṛṣṇa told Arjuna. Kutastva kashmalam idam vishame samupasthitam. Whereupon the impurities have come in your heart. The impurity is not easy to be removed. What is that impurity of the heart? Prabhupada is saying here that as long as the heart is not purified, and fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart by mere renunciation. So what it means, the purification of the heart? Boliye? What is the purification of the heart? I'm asking all of you. We are on the 5th chapter. Wait, let them try. What is the purification of the heart? Or what are the impurities in the heart? Okay. Very good. When there is no desire to enjoy separately from Kṛṣṇa. Atmendriya priti iksha tare bole kaam. What is lust or kaam? Atmendriya priti iksha. When there is a desire to enjoy separately from Kṛṣṇa. And Krishnendriya priti iksha dhare premana. And when the desire is to please and satisfy Kṛṣṇa. So that is called love or devotion. So what it means by devotion? Devotion means only one word, that is love. And what it means by love is to serve selflessly, without any selfish interest or motive. So Prabhupada is saying, as long as the heart is not purified. So what is our stage? Is our stage that when we have desire to please Kṛṣṇa, or we have the desire that Kṛṣṇa should please us? Why do we worship Kṛṣṇa? Sukha sampati ghare aave, kashta mite tanaka. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Swami Jai Jagadish Hare. Why? Sukha sampati ghare aave. So we will worship anyone and everyone who will fulfill this desire. And if he does not fulfill the desire, then you see what is the reaction. I have been your devotee for so long, and what have you done in my life? You took away my job. You took away my wife. You took away my son or my daughter. हमको ये सूट नहीं करते हैं. I will try some other devta. That is what Kṛṣṇa is speaking in Bhagavad-gītā. Because Kṛṣṇa knows this is his creation. Kṛṣṇa knows his created beings. That in the conditioned stage, they are enamored by the illusion. So this education is to be given. We are giving the Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit. Why it is the ripened fruit? Because from Kaumar Acharet Pragya, Dharma Bhagavatam. This is the duty of a father, to teach his son how to become detached. But what is the modern father teaching? तुमको आईटी इंजीनियर बनना है बचपन से ही। क्यों बनना है आईटी इंजीनियर? पैसा ज्यादा है है या नहीं? Does the son decide what he will be or the father decides? As soon as the child is admitted into the school, the father and mother, their aspiration begins. What they could not become, they want their sons and daughter to become. Yes or no? So this kind of fruitive mentality is most dangerous. So as long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the fruitive platform. But action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness automatically helps one escape the result of fruitive action, so that one need not descend to the material platform. So what is the transcendental position of Kṛṣṇa consciousness? That when you begin Kṛṣṇa consciousness, the fruit you offer to Kṛṣṇa. If you chant, do you chant for yourself? Yes, to some extent. We want to chant for ourselves. Why? Because we say we want to be free from our troubling desires. We want to be free from the control of our mind. We want to become more disciplined in life. But that is side effect. But what is the main effect? Why we are chanting? Because Kṛṣṇa is recommending. Satatam kirtayantam. So Kṛṣṇa is saying Satatam. We cannot do Satatam 24 hours. So let me give you 10 minutes. आप भी क्या याद रखेंगे? When you are so much recommending, I will offer you 10 minutes of my time. But what happens? Yoga begins. 1%. 1% yoga begins, that means 1% karma is terminated. When yoga becomes 2%, karma is terminated, 2%. As gradually the yoga will increase, the karma will terminate. And as the yoga becomes prominent, the karma becomes ineffective. That is how we elevate, how we come up. How does the schooling in the child begin? Does he start by specialization? Where does he begin? He begins with primary. But if he is never admitted to the school, can he have education? He can never have education. So it begins with a humble beginning. One. There are few who have seen, who are very pious. Sometimes I have seen some devotees. I remember one devotee. He told me, from day one, he was told to chant, and he chanted 16 rounds. Many. Not many. That percentage will be not even 1. But because they have very pious previous life account. Like the wood which is very, mature. If you bring it just near to the fire, it will get immediately inflamed. But what about that wood that has been kept for ages in water? Every time you lit it, what will happen? The flame will terminate. The wood will not catch fire. The flame will go out. So what is the remedy? Not to keep it in water, but to bring it near fire. So what will happen? The moisture will start to decrease. And one day it will ignite. So here Kṛṣṇa is recommending, as long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the fruitive platform. But action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, automatically one escapes the result of fruitive action. Why? Because he has learned the art of yoga. He started to offer. Now what are you offering? What is the offering you are making? You are offering your time to Kṛṣṇa. Good, very big. Not a small sacrifice. Instead of going and watching cricket, as the world is watching cricket. And instead of watching cricket or movie or any other, avenue for sense gratification, you are hearing what Kṛṣṇa is recommending. So what we are offering? We are offering our time to Kṛṣṇa. So it helps one to escape the fruitive action, so that one need not descend on the material platform. Therefore, action in Kṛṣṇa consciousness is always superior to renunciation. So, Kṛṣṇa consciousness, Kṛṣṇa does not recommend Arjuna. You see how much of misconception people have still in our country. What they want to do? They want to retire. They want to retire from the material existence, because material existence means action and reaction. So how to be free from reaction? Give up the action. They will go to Himalayas. What they will do in Himalayas? They will close their eyes. They will not meet anyone. They will not see anyone. They will not talk to anyone. But will their heart be purified? No possibility. Not possible. This is what Arjuna was saying. I don't want to fight. What I will do? I don't want the kingdom. Kim no rajena govinda, kim bhogena jivatena va. I don't want the kingdom. I don't want the opulence. I don't want to fight. I don't want to kill. So what he will do? I will go and retire in the forest life. Kṛṣṇa said, this is bogus. This is mithyachar. So Prabhupada is saying, Kṛṣṇa consciousness is always superior to renunciation, which always entail a risk of falling. Renunciation without Kṛṣṇa consciousness is incomplete. Very important. As is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Prapanchakitaya buddhaya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu kathyate. When person eager to achieve liberation renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be material, their renunciation is called incomplete. Renunciation is complete when it is in knowledge that everything is existence belongs to the Lord. So that is what Kṛṣṇa was saying. What was the verse in the 4th chapter? Yena bhutani asheshani atmana sthito yad gyatva na punar moham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani asheshani takshasi atmano yathamai. This is the fruit or the result of one who is situated in knowledge. What he can see? He can see Kṛṣṇa's connection everywhere. So what is there to renounce? When Kṛṣṇa is the proprietor of everything, when you do not own anything, what can you renounce? The feeling of renunciation itself is false. When in this world, nothing belongs to you. Does anything belong to us? Even this body does not belong to us. We will have to leave this body. Just yesterday only. Yesterday I was in the cremation. So when we go to the cremation, then at that time there is this thought that this day will also come to us. That is what is a falgu vairagya. But this vairagya, this renunciation is only till the time when we are in the cremation. And as soon as we come out, then again we are engaged in sense gratification. So one has to be hari sambandhini vastuna, that everything belongs to Kṛṣṇa. If this knowledge or understanding is there, then there is no question of possessiveness. That Kṛṣṇa has already spoken in the 3rd chapter. That is the purpose verse of Bhagavad-gītā. What is that verse? Mai sarvani karmani sannyāsadhyatma cetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yudhasva vigatjvara. So one who is in knowledge, what is his situation? That is automatically detached. One who is in ignorance, he is automatically attached. So when person is eager to achieve liberation, he renounces things related to the Supreme Personality, thinking them to material. Such renunciation is incomplete. Renunciation is complete when it is in knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. So this is very higher platform of knowledge. This is why Janak Maharaj is named in Bhagavad-gītā. Kṛṣṇa says, Yajat acharati sreshta tat tat eva tarojana. And what example he gives? He gives the example of Janak Maharaj. What is the example of Janak Maharaj? He had daughter Sita Devi? Yes, but that is not the example. He was completely detached. He never had any possessiveness to his kingdom. He was detached. One should understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone. Then where is the question of renunciation? Prabhupada is asking. A person who is saying that he has renounced, he has detached, that means he is in ignorance. Very beautiful this episode comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. When Lord Vamandev, he comes and he acquires the entire kingdom of Bali Maharaj. And in 2 steps, he covers the material creation. And he also creates the upper planetary system. And when he says, what about my third step? You promised me land for 3 steps. In 2 steps, I have covered everything you had. So you have not fulfilled your promise. At that time, the very intelligent wife of Bali Maharaj, she speaks. And what she says? She chastises Bali Maharaj and says that, look, my dear Lord, what is my husband thinking? That he is the master of the 3 worlds. When the master is yourself. So here Prabhupada is asking that where is the question of renunciation? When nothing belongs to you, when you are not the proprietor of anything, when you are not the owner of anything, when you are not the enjoyer of anything, what can you renounce? When you own nothing, how can you renounce? One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. This is a very beautiful principle. One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. Since everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be employed in the service of Krishna. This is Hari Sambandhini Vastuna. Everything should be put in Krishna's service. This perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of a Mayavadi school. So Krishna is completely dispelling through Arjuna all our misconceptions. So what can you renounce? That is why Mahaprabhu said, Sthane-stitam. You remain where you are. Shruti-gatam. What you have to do? You have to hear. Remain where you are. If you are in a grahastha life, you need not change. You need not come to the temple and want to wear this saffron cloth. No need. Remain where you are. Sthane stitam shruti gata. How? Tan vak manobhi. You align your body. You tell you how to align your body. Do sadhana bhakti. Wake up early, sleep early. Follow the 4 regulative principles. Tan vak. Vak is one's vani, speech. Chant Hare Krishna. Align your body. Following the 4 regulative principles, the regulative process of devotional practice. Vak is chant Hare Krishna, and manobhi is your mind, your heart. How? By praying to Krishna, by performing devotional service to you. Krishna, Lord Chaitanya says, Ye prayaso ajita jito api trilokyas. So if you sincerely and seriously endeavor in this way, you will conquer the unconquerable. No need to change. What you have to change? You have to change within. Not outside. Everyone is wanting to change outside. Kapda change kar liya, hair style change kar liya. Usse kuch nahi badlega. The change has to come from inside. How? Tan vak manobhi. You engage our body in service of Krishna. Engage our faculty of speech in Krishna, and engage our mind in serving Krishna. So then everything else will automatically change. No need for external change. More need for internal change. Okay? Any question or discussion? So Krishna has completely smashed Arjuna's apprehension and misconception. But what about us? Arjuna heard Bhagavad-gītā once in 45 minutes. His doubt was over. And we are hearing Bhagavad-gītā more than 45 days. Yes or no? But what about our misconception? Yeah. Oh, okay. See, this is Kali Yuga. So we have to close. We will take the question next time. We put it in the park. There is some other program here. So we'll have to stop here. But next Sunday I will be coming. But next to next Saturday we won't be coming. So please try and study Bhagavad-gītā. At least in this month of